guest. Welcome to today's Big Brother Canada updates and spoilers. We don't have a house guest today, but if you want that to be you, Mom just went. If you want that to be you, send us, no. Check out our Patreon link in the info box below. I just had deja vu. We'd really appreciate it. Okay, so yesterday I was telling y'all about how Jared is planning out his big pitch to Tim because he thinks that he's got a really good shot at getting Tim's vote this week. So he makes his pitch and he starts out, he's like, so Tim, what are you thinking this week? So Tim's like, well, the brothers were the target this week. Obviously, that's not happening because they won power of veto, but I still don't trust them. Even though they say, like, everything's good, don't trust them. Pretty sure they're coming after me next week. So Jared's like, well, Tim, I just want to remind you, I was in your position last week. Like, the roles were reversed here. You were on the block, and you asked me, are you voting to keep me? And I shook your hand, and I voted to keep you. So then he's like, also, like, I fought so hard to get to this point in the game, whereas Nikki has been, like, forced to stay. She didn't want to be here. We had to, like, talk her off the ledge. So you told me that you respect the game, and you want to see, like, the real strong competitors make it to the end. So what are you doing? So then Tim's like, yeah, I do respect the game, but I'm loyal to Cassandra. So Jared is like, well, yeah, I don't even know why Cass put me up on the block. Like, I never would have done that to her, and, like, she told me she wasn't putting me up. So then he starts blaming it on Cass's conversation with that girl. That girl meaning Sarah, last season's winner. That girl. These people kill me. Alright, so Tim is like, yeah, that's great and everything, but my major concern here is that if you stay, you're going to work with Kelsey and the brothers and come after me, Cass, and Joel next week, and I can't have that. So Jared's like, well, if we're going to, like, change that, Cass would have to make amends with me. She's been rude to me all week. I don't think you're in a position right now to be like, hey, stop being mean to me. Okay, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, but they're like, yeah, we'll talk about it again. I'll let you know by Thursday what I'm going to do with my vote. So then Tim goes and talks to Cass and Nikki about Jared's campaign. He's like, oh, Jared's trying to say that he's played the best game in here. Tim doesn't like that. So then they're talking about how Jared's been, like, crapping on Nikki's game and saying, like, that she doesn't deserve to be there. And Tim's like, I don't want you to be offended if you hear people saying that because, you know, just because your game is different, it doesn't mean it's, like, less. Honestly, though, what has Jared done in the game? Not too much. I'm not saying that Nikki's played a better game because, like, what has she done? She's, you know, but I will argue that it is a game. You know, it's her game style. I'm not saying it's good, I'm just saying she's technically playing the game. Alright, so then they're talking about how Jared and his group all think that they have Joel's vote this week, but they don't. Alright, so then Jared, after his conversation with Tim, he's regrouping with the brothers and Kelsey. So he's like, yeah, it's not looking good on the Tim front. I'm gonna have to get Joel's vote. But he tells them, like, don't tell Joel that this whole plan of keeping me is relying on him because it's going to be too much pressure and he's going to freak out. So, like, he can't know that this all depends on him. So, still, like, that being said, they're like, oh, we feel really good about it. We're just going to tell Joel, like, Final Four with us and, like, it's all going to be, it's going to work out. It's going to be great. So then, a little while later, Kelsey was outside all snuggled up with the brothers, like, under a blanket and, like, Kelsey sandwich. So I feel like Jared's head should have been, like, exploding, even though he wasn't out there, just, like, feeling the energy of them, like, hanging out together and her, like, stroking their peach fuzz heads. But I guess it's okay this week because Jared needs the brothers' vote, so anything goes. But they were talking about life outside of the house, and then they were having some game chat. I hesitate to call it game chat because I feel like they're talking about a different game. It was completely delusional. The brothers think very highly of the game that they're playing right now. They're like, oh yeah, we're just like Derek from Big Brother 6. 16, wait. 16 or freaking Dan Giesling. I couldn't remember my seasons for a second. But then they're like, oh yeah, we're playing even better than them. So then they were talking about how they've got Joel's vote locked down, and no, you don't. Also, they were like, yeah, we're going to go to the final 2 with Jared. It's going to be great. Like, I'm not afraid of him. I think we can beat him. And it's going to look really great when we take such a strong competitor to the end. So then the brothers were talking to Kelsey, and they were just like, yeah, Jared should just, like, throw the final HOH competition because we're both, like, the brothers and Kelsey would both take him to the end, so... you know, he should just throw it to us and then we'll battle it out. He's going to jury. There will be no throwing of the final HOH because he's not going to be there. Also, do you really think he would do that? Okay, so then Kelsey was campaigning to Cassandra on Jared's behalf. Kelsey is not good at campaigning. I'm just going to say that straight up. She went in there hot, with an attitude, and that is not the best idea when you're trying to get someone to do something for you. I mean, that's like life 101. That's not even a Big Brother thing. So Kelsey is like, Jared tried really hard in the veto. Like, did you know what those punishments were like? They would have sucked, and I would have been so pissed at him if he had cut his hair. So then Cass is just like, who did you expect me to put up? Like, I only had 4 choices: Jared, Joel, Tim, and you. Like, I wasn't going to put you up. I'm not going to put Tim up. And then Joel, he took all those punishments in the power of veto. And plus, Jared is a freaking a-hole to her. He never talks to her. So then Kelsey's like, well, you're an a-hole to him too. It's like you guys are both like that to each other. So then Kelsey's like, you should have put Joel up on the block. We would have kept him safe. We would have gotten rid of Nikki. And then she's going on and on about how Jared never would have done this to her, and now you've pissed him off. Saying that this pissed off Jared is not going to make Cassandra want to keep him. Why would she keep someone in the game who's pissed at her and would, like, retaliate? So then she's like, and it's especially sucky because he's up against Nikki, who wanted to put you up on the block and, like, doesn't deserve to be here anyway. So she's just going on and on about this, and Cass is like, you know what? I know that I would not be able to beat Jared in the end, and he wouldn't bring me to the final 2 anyway. And we have heard Jared confirm this to Cassandra, that he would bring Kelsey over her. So Kelsey is still BSing. She's still trying to be like, yeah, Jared would bring you to the final 2. And Kelsey says, we can all beat Jared in the final 2. I don't know why people are so afraid of him. So this conversation keeps going around and around in circles. It's not productive for anyone. It's just not good. So then it finally breaks up. I think, like, Tim busted in there and was like, Nikki wants to sleep in here, so, like, this needs to end. So Cassandra's telling Joel all about her conversation with Kelsey, and it almost seems like Cass is like starting to second guess herself. She's like, am I gonna be screwed if I get rid of Jared this week? And Joel is like, no. This is a great move, you need to do it. So he reassures her, like, no, this is what we need to do. Kelsey is freaking pulling stuff out of her butt right now, trying to make magic happen, and it's not gonna work. So then they talk about how they want to go to the final 2 together, and Cass is like, man, if we're in the final 2, everybody's gonna hate us. And Joel's like, who cares? Yes! That's the right attitude. Alright, so then Kelsey was telling her version of the conversation to Jared, and Kelsey was like, you know what? Cass was right about a lot of stuff, so this conversation was really frustrating. Okay, so Jared is looking ahead. He's trying to figure out how he's going to convince Joel to vote for him to stay. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to tell Joel that Cass wants to go to the final 3 with Nikki and Tim, so he's at the bottom of that group and he should come join up with us in the final 4. Now, even if this was true, and I don't think it is, because I think they do actually plan on getting rid of Nikki over Joel, but even if it was true, that would leave Joel at number 4 in that group. Why would it be any better for him to be number 4 with Jared, Kelsey, and the brothers? Especially since there's a showmance in that group. But that's you know, they think that they're gonna get him with that. Also, Jared's like, I'm just such a stand-up guy. Like, I've been so nice to Joel, so, like, I'm gonna tell him that, too. So then Kelsey's like, you know what, maybe it would be helpful if you would talk to Cass, because they haven't been talking. And Jared's like, well, I can't do it without being rude, so I'm just not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it. I'd rather just leave with class and not talk to her. So, this morning, Bros, Kelsey, and Jared, they're all planning their day out. They want to campaign hardcore because the eviction is tomorrow. So they're like, yeah, we really gotta hit Joel and Tim hard. Let's do it. So then they're like, break. No. But Nick and Phil were chatting alone at the table. These two are losing it, but especially Phil. I feel like a lot of this nonsense comes out of Phil's mouth, and Nick's just like, yeah, whatever, leave me alone. So, first of all, Phil's like, I'm not scared of Jared and Kelsey. I know that the two of them are working together. They're twosome, whatever. I will dismantle it if I need to. If you need to. So then Phil is like telling Nick about this speech that he has planned out that he wants to use at some point in the future. I don't think this is necessarily for this situation where he's campaigning for Jared to stay, but he's like, oh, this is so genius, and I hope I get to use this at some point. It's supposed to be some sort of Frankenstein reference, and he wants to use the speech on Tim. So he's like, all right, Nicholas, this is what I'm planning. So he's like, Tim, I urge you to reflect back on our entire relationship in this game. You'll soon discover you will never beat us no matter what you do today. You have two choices. If you take us to the final three, you'll lose. And if you don't, you'll lose the final chapter between Tim Dormer and Frankenstein. The choice is yours. What? So he's trying to, you know, he's alluding to the novel Frankenstein, and you know, Frankenstein's all like trying to intimidate the doctor. You know, well, the creature is trying to intimidate Dr. Frankenstein. I just want to make that clear. So he is thinking that they are the creature. And he thinks that this is really going to mess with Tim's head. I don't think so, but you keep thinking that. I hope that Phil does make this speech at some point, just so we can all enjoy it. Alright, so Cass has been acting really weird today. She's being like super obnoxious and like trying to pick fights with Jared, Kelsey, and the brothers. And she's doing this all on purpose. She mentioned that she wants to basically be a bitch today. I'm just saying, like, she's doing it on purpose, and I'm just wondering, like, what is the point of this? I think it would have been much better if she had just, like, kept quiet. Maybe this is the day that you just hide out in the HOH. She did watch her Show Me movie today, but I think she could have just, you know, stayed along that line and, like, been chill today. But I think she's making way too many waves right now, and if she's not careful, she could be walking out right behind Jared tomorrow in the double eviction. So I'm not sure why she's doing this, but things are getting really intense now that Jared, Kelsey, and the brothers are getting a little bit nervous. Like, they do feel that they have Joel's vote, but at the same time, they're getting a little bit desperate. So things are going to be getting crazy, I think, tonight with the campaigning. Double eviction tomorrow. So I'll have some more fun stuff for you guys before that. And until then, much love.